I think I got it now. Sorry, I'm always with the sound. Cool, got it. Okay, where I was at, guys, sorry about that. We're standing like this in a standing L, so go ahead and bring that left foot down to meet the right. And inhale, roll up one vertebrae at a time. Hands come up and overhead. Back bend, let it go. Inhale, hands up and overhead. And then swan dive forward, coming all the way down. Inhale, half lift. Exhale down. We're going to step back with that left foot, the right to come along, and since we're still just warming up, drop down to your knees and tuck your toes. Shift that body weight forward, hug the elbows into the rib cage, come all the way down to your bellies. Keep those elbows tucked into those rib cage. You're going to inhale, halfway lift. Exhale down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale down. One more time into that baby cobra. Inhale, halfway lift. And let your hands float off the mat just a little bit so you can feel that engagement in the back. Exhale down. We're going to tuck our toes, come into a tabletop, not high onto our knees, just come into a tabletop. Tuck the toes behind you, lift the hips, push it back. Working on the left side, lift that left foot all the way up to the sky, point the toes, and exhale, pull that knee into your chest, roll it forward, place that foot in between your hand, set up that good runner's lunge. You want to make sure that knee is over the ankle, stay high onto the ball of that left foot, or right foot, sorry, get my left and rights mixed up. Make sure you're lifting up through that hamstring, fingertips off the mat. Pull your belly to your spine. You don't want to put no weight onto that thigh. You want to be high up, push out, shine through your chest. Place your hands, frame that left foot, shift the body weight forward, bring that right foot up into a standing L. Trying to work into our standing splits, but we're still warming up. Make sure you're pulling that left hip back. Flex those toes behind you. And then slowly bring that right foot down to meet the left. Inhale, roll up one vertebrae at a time. Hands meet up and overhead, pinkies touch, back bend, let it go. Inhale up. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale down. Inhale, half lift. Exhale down. And from here, it's up to you now if you want to step, walk, or jump to the back of your mat. If you do hop to the back of your mat, please bend your knees as much as you can. Get your hands flat onto the mat. Try to push out through your chest. And when you hop back, come into your low plank. And keep your elbows bent because you don't want to hurt yourself jumping straight back into a high plank with your elbows locked. So anytime you hop back, make sure you hop into that low plank here. We're going to inhale and then exhale halfway down. Inhale up. Exhale down. I'm going to pull your chest up and through to Urdhva Mukha, upward facing dog. You want to roll those shoulders down and out of your ears. You want to shine through your heart. Push the mat away. Push through the tops of those feet. Make sure your legs are hovering off the mat. You're going to tuck your toes, tuck your chin, lift your hips, and push all the way back. We're going to work on Malasana, frog pose. So we're going to inhale, lift that right foot all the way up to the sky. And then exhale, bring that right foot on the outside of that right hand. And all you're gonna do is bring this left foot up to meet the right. So you're standing in a wide-legged forward fold here. You wanna make sure your feet are on the outside of your mats or close to the outsides of your mat or on the floor. It just depends how open your hips are, how wide your stance is. From here, maybe shake your hips to the left and to the right, just warming them up. And all we're gonna do is squat it down, bringing your elbows to the inside of those thighs and giving yourself a little push out. You wanna make sure your feet are completely flat on the floor. You don't wanna be high up like this. You wanna make sure they're down. And if you had a block or a pillow, you could also place it underneath you and you could have a seat on it to help you sit up straight. Now try to pull your belly to your spine. And you want to bring your hands to your sternum. And you want to try to have a nice straight spine here. Really trying to just stretch open those hips. We're not going to stay here for long. Every time we come back into this position, we're going to add a little something. Just focus on your breath. Slowly bring your hands down in front of you. Lift your hips all the way up. Turn your feet in. Heel toe your feet together. And then inhale, roll up one vertebrae at a time. Hands come up and overhead. Then exhale, back bend. Inhale up. Exhale, swan dive forward. Then inhale, halfway lift. Exhale down. Remember, step, walk, or jump back to your mat. Coming into that plank position, push the mat away, shoulders over your wrists, shift the body weight slightly over those wrists. Exhale, halfway down. Inhale up. Exhale, down and through. Coming into Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, upward facing dog. We're gonna hold it here just for a moment. Make sure you're not dipping into your shoulders. You wanna push the mat away. Bring your chin to your chest. Drag it across all the way to the left. Look over your shoulder. And then come all the way, bring that chin all the way down and across to the right. And then come back to center. Tuck your toes, lift your hips, push away. Downward facing dog. Breathe in and out through your nose. We're gonna inhale, lift that left foot all the way up to the ceiling. Exhale, bring that left foot outside of that left hand. And then slowly just bring that right foot up to meet the left. And if you guys can't come all the way, bring your foot up and down, you could always drop down to your knee, swing that left foot forward, and then bring that right foot up to meet. Just straighten out your hips, make sure your feet are out about mount's distance. Before we sink in down, just rock side to side. I always like to do this. It kind of helps open up those hips a little bit before we sink down into them. And then slowly squat it down. Bring those elbows on the inside of those thighs. Hands in prayer to your chest. And let's breathe in and out through your nose. From here, if you want to take a bind, you totally can. You're going to take your right hand out. You're going to have your thumb facing down towards the ground, your palm facing out. And then you're going to reach around with that left hand, and you're going to hook your hands together. If you can't hook your hands together and you have a hand towel handy or a little face towel, you could bring it around and you could also hold it right here too. But when you're in this bind, you really want to open up through your chest, pull that left shoulder back, and make sure you're still sinking down into those hips. Take one more deep breath here. Slowly release. Come back to center. Going to the other side if you want to take that bind. Remember, thumb goes face down first. Then reach around and connect your arms. Or your hands, not your arms. You want to make sure you're opening up through that chest. Pull this right shoulder back. Take your eye gaze over that right shoulder. Focus on your breath. Take one more deep breath in. And then exhale. Slowly release your grip. Come back to center. Hold it here just for one more breath. And then slowly bring your hands down to the mat. And then slowly lift your hips up. Shake them from left to right. Bet you feel so nice. You want to heel toe your feet together. Gonna inhale, roll up one vertebrae at a time. Inhale those hands up and overhead. Then exhale, back bend, let it go. Inhale up. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale down. One more time, half lift. Exhale down. Place your hands on the mat. You can either walk, step, or jump back. Take your chaturanga flow. That's where you exhale halfway down. Keep those elbows in. Inhale up. Exhale down and through. Up through Urdhva Mukha, upward facing dog. Tuck your chin, tuck your toes, lift your hips. Back to Adho Mukha, Savasana, downward facing dog. Breathe in and out through your nose. Gonna have a little fun with a little bit of a warrior series. So inhale, bring that right foot hip height. We're gonna work here first on some internal and external rotation of the hips. So flex through that right foot. Make sure you can see your right toes underneath your face. You want to keep your foot hip height. You don't want it too far down this way. You don't want it too high up. You want it to be leveled off. This is internal rotation. We're going to drop our toes down, tap the mat once. Inhale up. Exhale, tap the mat. Inhale up. One more time, tap that mat with your toes. And this time when you're coming up, inhale up, point the toes behind you. Keep pointing, keep lifting that foot. Reach it all the way up to the ceiling, coming into your external rotation. You're going to bend that right knee. Stack those hips. Make sure your hips are stacked. Look over that right shoulder and find your toes. And if you want to play around, you could go ahead and drop into, but when you do this, you want to do it very, 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 very slowly. You want to drop your hips down, and then you're going to lift and reach behind you, coming into a reverse. Sorry guys, my mic fell off. Reverse here. Try to lift up through your hips. Then we're going to come slowly back around. Bringing that right hand to the mat, bringing that right foot up, Coming about hip height again. And an inhale, bring that knee into, or exhale, bring that knee into your chest. Place that foot in between your hands. So you want to make sure your right foot is in between that hands. We're going to go into Warrior One, Virabhadrasana 1. You're going to drop your back foot 45 degrees. Make sure your heels are in alignment. Both heels line up. Bring your hands to your hips and slowly come all the way up, keeping a bend in that right knee. You want to make sure there's a bend in there. You want to sink down through your hips. And you could see the way I'm standing right here. We're going to pull this right hip back, left hip forward. Try to square our hips center. Try to sink it down in those hips just a little bit more. You're going to inhale, hands up and overhead. Make sure you roll those shoulders out of your ears. Pull your belly to your spine. Lift up through your rib cage. This is Virabhadrasana 1, Warrior 1. We're going to turn it and drop it into Virabhadrasana 2. So we're going to, on your next exhale, open it up. Hands go out to the sides, and that back foot turns 90 degrees, parallel with the back of your mat. Front foot should still be forward, and try to sink it down in those hips. Keep your tailbone tucked, roll those shoulders down and back. Take your eye gaze over that right fingertip. And inhale, straighten that front leg. And what we're going to, don't hyperextend. Keep a micro bend into your knee. Bump this sorry guys. Bump this left hip out to the back. Reach forward with that right hand. And we're going to slowly drop it down into a triangle pose, Trikonasana. Your hand could stay here on your shin, the top of your foot, the mat, or if you have a block. I always like to use a block because what you're trying to do, you're still trying to keep your hips opened here. You don't want to be sinking in. You're reaching up with that left hand. You still want to open up your chest. If you don't have a block, I always say keep your hand here on your shin. You could still see that. I'm opening up my hips. My chest is opening up. I'm going to slowly put a bend into that right knee. Your hands on the mat. Take it to the outside of that right foot. Bring that left hand to frame. And your foot, automatically your left foot is going to want to turn, coming into that high lunge. You're going to sweep this left foot back to meet the right. Taking your variation of your chaturanga flow. Come up and through. We all come to upward facing dog. Tuck our toes, lift our hips, push it back to downward facing dog. We're going to work on the left side. First, the inner rotation and outer rotation of our hips. So bring that left foot up, hip height. Flex through your toes. Make sure you can see your toes underneath your face. This one, you want to act like you're pushing that behind you away through your heel. Act like your heel is pushing away. And exhale, bring that foot down, tap the mat. Inhale, halfway's up. Bring it down, tap the mat. Inhale up. Then bring it down, tap the mat. And this time when you're coming up, point the toes to the back of the room and lift that foot. Stack your hips, bend that knee, external rotation. Look over, find your toes. And if you wanted to have fun, flip your dog, drop down to that back foot very slowly. Drop your hips, then lift and reach. Have a little fun. Remember to smile. Bring that hand down towards the mat. Lift that left foot all the way up. Bring it to hip height. Exhale, bring that knee into your chest. Place it in between your hands. Remember, drop that back foot 45, coming into warrior one. Make sure your knee is over your ankle. Back foot 45, heels are in alignment. Bring your hands to your hips. Inhale, come all the way up. Remember, get your hips and turn them to be center. You want to make sure you're pulling that left hip back, right hip forward, and then sink down into those hips. Make sure you have a bend into that right knee. Inhale, hands up and overhead. Virabhadrasana 1, roll those shoulders down and out of your ears. Try to lift up through your rib cage. Sink it down in those hips. We're going to inhale, we're going to drop it, open it up to Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2, drop that back foot 90. Make sure you have a bend in that knee. You don't want to go in too much forward, too much back. Roll those shoulders down, spread the fingers wide, and sink it down in those hips just a little bit more. Remember, look over those left fingertips. Inhale, straighten out that front leg. Reach forward with the left. Bump those right hips out towards the back. And then slowly dropping your hand to your shin, the top of your foot, your mat, or a block. Here you want to make sure you're pulling that hip still up and back, lifting up through the rib cage, reaching those fingertips towards the roof. Try to open this chest up towards the side of the room. Breathing in and out through your mouth, through your nose, not your mouth. Slowly start bending that front knee. Bring that left hand on the outside of your left foot. Bring that right hand down, frame the foot. That back foot automatically starts turning into that lunge. Come high onto the ball of the right foot. Swing that left foot back to meet the right. Going into your chaturanga flow. If you have to drop down to your knees, you could do so. Exhale, halfway down. Inhale up. Exhale, down and through. Bring your chin into your chest. Tuck your toes, lift your hips, push it back. Slightly start shifting that body weight forward, coming into a plank. Hold it here. And exhale, lift those hips. Inhale, slowly shift that body weight forward. So when you shift forward from your down dog, you should already be in a plank pose. You shouldn't have to move your feet. This is a perfect way to check if you have a good down dog. Exhale, push those hips up and back. See, I shouldn't have to move my feet at all. And all we're going to do now is slowly come down to our knees. Let your big toes touch. Bring your knees out max distance. Bring your booty to your heels. And slowly let your belly fall in between your thighs. Walk it out, coming into a peaceful warrior. Breathing in and out through your nose here. Try to focus on that word or that color or that mantra, that phrase that we picked out in the beginning of class. Just focusing on yourself here. Block any negative energy, any negative thoughts that may be coming into your mind. This is your time now. Breathe in and out through your nose. This is Our time here to catch our breath. Did a little bit of a warrior flow, ending in our warrior, peaceful warrior. Take your eye gaze in between your hands and then slowly start walking them over all the way to the right side. Make sure you keep your hips down towards your heels. Reach out towards the right side. Place your forehead firmly on the mat and just breathe. You should really feel this stretch alongside of that left side of your body, through, from your underarm all the way through your rib cage, all the way down towards your hip. You should really feel that stretch there. You want to keep on focusing on keeping your heels, your hips to your heels. Don't let that left hip come too high up. Take that eye gaze in between your hands and slowly walk hand over hand, coming all the way over to the left side. Remember, keep those heels to your hip, your hips to your heels. Sorry guys, I can't talk this afternoon. Getting tongue-tied. Focus on that breath. And then slowly start walking your hands, hand over hand, towards the middle. Push your hips back towards your heels. Bring that forehead to the mat. Massage your third eye onto that mat. And what we're going to do here is take our eye gaze in between our hands. Have your arms, try to get your forearms flat onto the mat. So what we're going to do is slide our way up through upward facing dog and then push ourselves back to downward facing dog. So from here, take your eye gaze in between your hands. Have your forearms flat onto the mat. Start pulling yourself through. Keep your belly low. Keep your chest low. Coming into that upward facing dog. See my elbows. Keep them in towards your rib cage. Push up through the tops of your feet. Coming up to that upward facing dog. Bring your chin into your chest. Tuck your toes. Lift your hips. Push it all the way back to downward facing dog. Here we're going to walk our hands back to meet our feet. Coming into Padahastasana from the front, which is hands to foot pose. You want to make sure measure 2 fist distance in between your hips here. Put them in between. Put 2 fists in between your feet. That's hips distance. Bend your knees as much as you need to. Allow your belly to rest on your thighs. Take your hands. You're going to place them palms face up. You're going to step onto your feet, or step onto your hands with your feet. Try to get your toes to touch your wrist crease. And if you can't do that, that's cool. Keep your hands flat. Keep them just flat right here, and that's perfectly fine. Wherever you're at, you want to relax your head. No tension in that neck. Bring your belly to your spine, and then slowly start straightening those legs out. Lifting those hips high into the sky. You can use your arms as leverage to pull yourself closer down. We are looking through our legs, looking behind you, telling and repeating to yourself, I move forward in life as I leave the past behind me. Slowly release your hands from underneath your feet. And heel toe our feet together. Bring your hands to your hips and come all the way up with a flat back. You're gonna work on a half moon, Ardha Chandrasana. So with a half moon, you wanna make sure heels and toes touch. You're gonna inhale your hands up and overhead. And what we wanna make sure you're doing here is tucking through your tailbone, lifting up through your rib cage. Roll those shoulders down and out of your ears. And you're gonna grab your left wrist with your right hand. Your palm could be facing up or towards the front. It doesn't really matter. It matters on the range of your shoulders. I like to place my hand face up. It's really up to your body. You're gonna inhale. You're gonna reach high, and then you're gonna exhale, pulling yourself over to the right side, bumping these hips out to the left. You wanna make sure your shoulders and hips are in alignment. You wanna pull this right shoulder back. Left shoulder back, right shoulder forward. Your hips, you wanna make sure they're still in line here. Wanna reach over like you're reaching over a beach ball or maybe like a high picket fence and you don't want to poke your belly. Inhale, come up. Then exhale, back bend, let it go. Inhale, up. Roll those shoulders down and out of your ears. Grab that right wrist with that left hand. Make sure those shoulders are out of your ears. Tuck through your tailbone, and then exhale, go over to the left. Make sure you're rolling your shoulders, not coming this way. You're going to pull it back. Roll that left shoulder forward. Try to even out your weight throughout your feet. And it's really, guys, it's not about how far you could come down. What it is about how much of a stretch you can feel on this side. Inhale back to center. Then exhale, back bend, let it go. Inhale, hands up and overhead. And what we're going to do is exhale, swan dive forward. Bring your belly to your spine and then reach around the backs of your legs. Grabbing for opposite elbows or opposite wrists. We're doing Padahastasana from the back. So from here, wherever you're at, grabbing opposite elbows or opposite wrists. Or if you're advanced and you already know that you could step onto your fingertips with your heels, you could do that as well. Wherever you're at, relax your head. Let it hang heavy. Keep those knees bent. Let those bellies rest on your thighs. And when you're ready, slowly start lifting those hips all the way up to the sky. Remember to focus on your breath in and out through your nose. And we're, again, looking behind us. So remember, say that to yourself. You move forward in life as you leave the past behind you. One more deep breath in. Exhale out. Release your grip wherever it may be. Bring your hands to your hips and come all the way up, flat back. We're going to go into a back bend here. We have different ways that we could put our hands in a back bend. First and foremost, you always want to make sure you're tucking through your tailbone, lifting up through your rib cage. Your hand placement, it could either be fingertips facing down, pinkies touch. It could be your hands could come fingers facing up. But see, guys, if it's like this, that's not a good way to go into a back bend. If you're gonna have your hands like this, you ought to make sure your hands are completely flat onto the back. It's even difficult for me to do sometimes. Or my favorite is two fists, and you place them right here. This is where you want to make sure you have your hands. What we're trying to do is get these shoulders to disappear and our elbows to touch. We want that to all go away. From here, tuck through that tailbone, lift up through the rib cage, and just take your eye gaze up. Right here, you're already in a beginning stage of a back bend, and you're like, yo, this is all I could do. Stay right here. Don't try to push yourself. If you have a little bit more in you, slowly and surely just start letting that head fall all the way towards the back. Remember to keep pushing those hips up, keep pushing those hips out. Breathing in and out through your nose. Back bends really open up the heart and throat chakras, so just try to be patient in this pose. And inhale, slowly, slowly, slowly start coming up. Let your eye gaze come back to center. Bring your hands to your hips and slowly come down with a flat back. Hands come towards the mat, coming into that Uttanasana, forward fold. From here, you're just going to walk your hands out towards the mat. Then we're just going to drop it down onto our knees, coming back into that tabletop. We're going to reach this right hand out in front of us, coming onto our right side, coming into a fetal position. So use your bicep as a pillow, and then bring your knees into your chest. Close your eyes here. Focus on your breath. That's it for our standing series. You guys did wonderful. This is our first yoga pose ever in the womb, the rebirth pose. So right here, tell yourself something nice. Tell yourself, good job, you logged in to live stream today. You lasted 60 minutes for yourself, something that you did today for yourself. Be proud of that. And slowly start making your way on towards your back. Coming into your first Shavasana, which is a corpse pose. You want to make sure you tuck your shoulders underneath your chest. Try to prop up your chest just slightly. Keep your chin tucked to your chest. And we're going to bring both knees up into our chest. You don't have to reach around hard. Just grab around, place your hands on your shins gently, and maybe rock side to side. Coming to center, interlace your fingers, all 10 fingers interlace. Bring them to your right shin. Lift that left foot all the way up to the sky. Bring that right knee into your chest, and then slowly start dropping this left foot all the way down towards the mat. Flex through both of your feet. Pull this right knee in towards your chest. Make sure your grip is on your shin, just slightly underneath your knee. You don't want it on your knee. We don't want to cause any damage or injuries to our knees. So just pull that knee into your chest. Flex through your feet. You're going to inhale. Release that grip just a little bit, and then exhale, pull that knee into your chest. Inhale, release the grip just a little bit, and then exhale, pull the knee into your chest. Keep both feet flexed towards your face. Slowly release the grip. Bring that left knee up to meet the right. Reach around, grab for opposite wrists, opposite elbows, and slowly bring your your shoulders down towards the mat. Flex through your feet. This is Puvana Muttasana, wind liberation pose. It is working on our digestive system. It's cleaning out our insides. So if you ever need to use the potty, you're having problems, I know it's probably TMI, but this really does help. And you want to start on the right side, then in the middle, and then to the left. Make sure to flex your feet towards your face, knees into your chest. Inhale, release the grip just a little bit, and then exhale, pull those knees into your chest. Inhale, release the grip just a little, and then exhale, pull them in. Slowly let go of that right foot, let it go all the way up to the ceiling. Interlace your fingers around that left shin, right under that knee. Flex through your toes and slowly drop that right foot all the way down towards the mat. Bring that knee into that chest. Every exhale, you get a little bit closer. Keep that foot flexed. Don't let it dangle. Inhale, release the grip just a little bit. Exhale, pull it in tighter. Inhale, release the grip. And then exhale, pull it in. Inhale, release just a tad. Then exhale, pull it all the way in. Slowly release the grip. Bring both knees into your chest. Reach around. Give yourself one more hug, one more time. Keep that chin into your chest, forehead to your knees. Tell yourself something amazing here. You're awesome. You're beautiful. You're handsome. You logged in today. That's what counts. Slowly start coming back down. Let both feet go up to the air. And then slowly drop them down towards the mat. Just got to make sure we're on time, guys. Bring both feet flat towards the mat. Let your toes and heels touch, and you're going to let the left foot out, the left leg fall to the left, and the right fall to the right. Coming into Supta Baddha Konasana, Supta Vajrasana. It's a bound angle pose, or goddess of the hump pose. You want to make sure the pose is easier or harder for you by moving the heels closer towards your body or further away towards your body. From your body, not towards, from your body. Move them from your body. You can use your hands as weights on the inside of your thighs to help get your knees closer towards the mat, but don't push down on your thighs, because then you get this weird little funky thing here where your back starts to lift, and you don't want your lower back to lift. You still want it flat. So just use your hands like as heavy weights to keep there. You also bring your arms out into your cactus arms, or like an airplane, or you could always reach up and grab for opposite elbows. That feels really good on your back too. Still focusing on that breath. Remember, breathe in and out through your nose. And if you're reaching for opposite elbows, release and grab. Sorry, guys, I can't talk today. Grab for the opposite elbow. So switch your grip. Remember, just focusing on your breath. You guys did a very good job today. Slowly release the grip if you had it overhead. Bring your hands to your thighs. Close your legs up like you're shutting a book. Bring your knees into your chest and just rock side to side. Just resetting our spine. Slowly bring both feet down towards the mat. And from here, you're going to heel toe your feet out mat's distance. Depending how tall you are, you might need, if you're tall, I'm really short, so my feet at mat's distance is perfectly fine for me. You might have to take them out a little bit wider than your mat. But first we're going to just let our knees touch, working on that inner and outer rotation of our hips. So knees touch, this is inner rotation. Open up, let them fall out, outer rotation. Do that 2 more times. Just feeling the difference in your hips and the range of your motion. We store a lot of stress and emotions in our hips, so sometimes it's nice just to do this. Now let both your knees fall over to the left side. So you want to make sure that this leg is not crossing over the center plank of your body. You want to make sure it's in the middle. You want to make sure you have a 90-degree angle from your ankle all the way to your hip. If you got that, you're good. Bring your hands out to airplane, like an airplane, palms face up or down. And you could stay right here. This right here is Janupanasana 2, foot to knee pose. So you want to take only if you don't feel any pressure or any kind of pinching sensation in that right knee, then you want to bring this left foot, the outside edge of this left foot, to the outside of your thigh. And you're going to use it as a little leverage to help get your knee closer to the mat. But if you feel too much pain in that right knee and it doesn't feel right, don't put this foot on there. Leave it the way it was. You could always complete your twist by taking that eye gaze over that right shoulder. If you take that eye gaze over that shoulder, bring your eye gaze back to center. Slowly take that foot off that thigh and just hold it here for 1 second. You can feel the difference of when our foot was on there, when it wasn't. Just feel the difference, recognize it. And then slowly bring both knees back to center. Then you're going to let them fall into touch, inner rotation. Then open them out to outer rotation. Bring them into touch, and then let them fall over to the right side. Make sure your foot all the way to your hip is a 90-degree angle. Your knee is not going to the center part of your body. Flex through your foot. Bring your arms out like airplanes. And just like we did on the other side, bring that foot out to on top of that thigh. But only if there's no pain. If you feel any pain or pinching sensation in that knee, come out of it. You don't want to feel that. You can take that eye gaze over that left shoulder to complete your twist. Slowly bring that eye gaze back to center. Let that foot come off of that thigh. Bring both knees in back to center. Bring both knees into your chest. Reach around. We're not coming up. We're just hugging our knees in and gently rock side to side. Lift those legs all the way up to the air. Bring your hands down beside you and slowly let your legs come down. Don't rush it, just slowly let them fall. Close your eyes. Coming into that last and final Shavasana. Still focusing on your breath. In and out through your nose. Every time you inhale, feel that belly rise with air. And then every time you exhale, let it fall down all the way towards your spine. Palms face up, you receive energy. Palms face down, you release energy. I want to say thank you guys for tuning in with us at True Yoga, for letting me guide you through your yoga practice this afternoon. I hope the rest of your day goes just as wonderful as this hour did. And before we finish, bring your hands into prayer over your forehead to your third eye. Repeat after me. I intuit the truth. Bring your hands to your lips. I speak the truth. And bring your hands to heart center. I am the truth. The love and light inside of me honors and respects each and every one of you guys. Namaste. Stay here as long as you need to. I always say stay in your final Shavasana, maybe 15, 20 breaths. Just focus, maybe even take a nap if you want to on your mat. It's really up to you. It's your practice. Thank you guys for letting me guide you. Hope you have a wonderful day.